everybody, today's Ask Kristen question is about first kisses. So I'm going to tell you about my first kiss, which is either a reason for you to stick around or a reason for you to hit stop and go find a paper bag to dry heave into. Last week on Ask Kristen, I advised an 18-year-old who was a little bit concerned that she had not had penis and vagina sex yet. And in the comments, a lot of folks were saying, hey, not only have I not had sex, but I've never been kissed. That leads me to this week's Ask Kristen question from Imaginative Lunatic. I'm still a virgin, I'm 19, and this year I will be 20. I've also never been kissed. On average, which age is the most common to have your first kiss? Also, at what age is the most common that someone commits to their first romantical relationship? So to answer Imaginative Lunatic's questions about averages, according to the studies and data that I looked at, the average age of a first kiss is 15. That's a couple years before the average age of first vaginal intercourse, which is around age 17. And then when it comes to the first serious romantical relationship, for the studies that I could find, it was usually around age 18. Personally, I am very much for you developing your own bases. By that, I mean your personal boundaries and your levels of consent, which should not be dictated by averages in terms of what everybody else around you is doing. When it comes to my first kiss, I didn't realize that I am right on the average. I always thought that, and I still think that I was a bit of a late bloomer. First of all, I was homeschooled, so I didn't have lots of opportunity for smooching other dudes. I was 15, and I think I only kissed this guy one time, and I had had a mad crush on him for so long, and we kissed. There was not tongue involved, but it was very proper and very emotional. He was wearing a shirt with a zebra head on it. I want to say there was like a little bit of glitz, a little sequin and glitz going on, because I remember him first coming to pick me up and me thinking, well, that's a razzle dazzle t-shirt he's got on. Doesn't matter, still want to kiss his face. But now that I've gone way out on an anecdotal tangent, let's bring it back to research, because I did find one study examining people's affective states, their emotions, thoughts, and feelings about their very first kiss before, during, and after the first kiss. It talked to both men and women, and I think all of them were straight. Again, God, can we just heteronormativity? And it found that prior to the first kiss, people's feelings were mostly negative. They were anxious. They wanted also to kind of get it over with. During and after, there was a gender split of the guys feeling far more positive and relieved and happy about the experience compared to the girls, who were far likelier to report unsatisfactory and even uncomfortable first kiss experiences, which the researchers attribute to, perhaps, as I've talked about a lot of times on Stuff Mom Never Told You, these sociocultural expectations of men being more interested in sex than women are. It all ties back to the sexual double standard of men often being afforded more sexual liberties. When girls explore their sexualities, they are deviant and even to the point of being labeled as sluts. It was surprising to me, though, that that kind of gendered pattern emerged as early as the very first kiss. Going back, though, to the folks watching who have never been kissed and importantly want to be kissed at some point, remember that averages are they're just averages. They're just numbers. The important thing is you and what you're comfortable with. The anxiety that you might have around this whole first kiss thing, that's also really understandable and natural too. Also worth bearing in mind, at least in my experience, sometimes first kisses are awful, but that doesn't mean that a second kiss can't be phenomenal. With that, if anyone has any first kissing advice, let me know in the comments below. And if you're someone who has never been kissed and is a little bit nervous about it, or never been kissed and is totally fine with it, we want to hear from you as well. Comment. Be sure to ask me your questions so I can give you some answers and advice about kissing. Here's my advice. Easy on the tongue. Now for a couple comments on last week's Ask Cristen video. Still a virgin. This is coming from Sophie, who says, I'm 25 and still a virgin. I don't want to do it with a random guy. I want to trust the person I'm doing it with, and I haven't found him yet. So I'll wait. And if all else fails, I can make the female version of the 40-year-old virgin. John Salter said, I'm 30 and I've never even had so much as a girlfriend. While I feel no shame in admitting my virginity, it can be painful to watch everyone you know get hooked up and start having normal sex lives. By this time, it's not the lack of sex that's the problem, but the lack of intimacy that goes with it and everything that leads up to it. This week's Tweet of the Week goes to Wondering Wyatt, avoiding homework, watching Cristen Conger, #feminism. Homework is still important, kids, as is feminism.